Models lose competition to simple girl. What happens if beautiful models lose competition to simple girl? In the charming city of Charleston, South Carolina, where Spanish moss draped over ancient oaks and pastel-colored buildings lined the waterfront, the annual Miss Charleston pageant was a one-of-a-kind event that you had to see to truly understand. Held at the Charleston Community Theater, a cozy little spot with a simple wooden stage, soft lighting, and rows of folding chairs, the pageant drew a small crowd of about 50 people, nothing like the huge audiences you'd see at typical beauty contests. The 2025 event wasn't about glitz or glamour. It was a thoughtfully designed competition meant to challenge what we think beauty really means, focusing on heart and kindness instead of just looks. Backstage, the vibe was electric, with the hum of hair dryers and the chatter of contestants, getting ready for the final round. Mirrors lined the walls, reflecting a parade of sparkly gowns, flawless hairstyles, and perfectly done makeup. Right in the middle of all the hustle stood Harper Evans, a 28-year-old who stood out in the best way possible. She was wearing a simple floral dress with delicate pastel flowers, her makeup light, just a touch of soft pink lipstick and mascara, showing off her natural glow with a few freckles sprinkled across her cheeks. Her chestnut hair fell naturally. Around her shoulders, no fancy styling, just a few strands softly framing her face. Harper wasn't here for the spotlight. She had a dream way bigger than any stage. She wanted to use the prize money to open a coffee shop called Silent Brew, a place where she could hire deaf folks, giving them jobs and a chance to feel included in the community. That $1 million prize? It was her ticket to making that dream come true. As Harper adjusted her dress in front of the mirror, a harsh voice cut through the noise. Excuse me, this room is for beauty contestants for the Miss Charleston pageant, not the Miss Charleston Simple pageant. You're clearly in the wrong place. The words came from Ava Montgomery, a 24-year-old with long, glossy blonde hair and a sapphire blue gown that shimmered under the lights. Ava's icy blue eyes sized Harper up with disdain, her lips curling into a smirk. Behind her, two other contestants, Chloe and Lauren, giggled, their manicured nails sparkling, as they fixed their own dresses. Actually, Harper said, her voice calm but steady, I'm one of the finalists. She pulled out her phone, opened an email from the organizers, and held it up for Ava to see. The screen read, Congratulations, Harper Evans. You have been selected as a finalist for the Miss Charleston 2025 pageant. Ava froze for a second, but then let out a mocking laugh that echoed through the room. There's no way you made it this far in the competition. I mean, no offense, but you're not even close to our league. She motioned to her own glamorous look, then to Chloe and Lauren, who nodded in agreement, their eyes twinkling with amusement. The judges must be pulling a really mean prank on you. That's the only thing that makes sense, Ava went on, flipping her hair over her shoulder. You might as well leave because you've got no shot at winning. I mean, look who you're up against. Harper's cheeks turned pink, but she didn't back down. I'm staying, she said simply. I'm already here, and I need that. Money. My dream is to open a coffee shop where I can hire deaf people to help the disabled community. Ava cut her off with a dramatic eye roll, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Nobody cares about some disabled people. You're just wasting your time. She stepped closer, her heels clicking on the tiled floor, and dropped her voice to a taunting whisper. Well, you never know, Harper replied, trying to stay calm. Ava smirked, her tone smug. Oh, I do know, actually. I'm dating one of the producers here, and he promised he'd do whatever it takes to make sure I win. Want to know what I'm doing with my winnings? I'm booking a first-class trip to the Maldives, my dream vacay, 5 stars all the way. But if you want to stick around and watch me get crowned, go right ahead and embarrass yourself. With that, Ava spun around, Chloe and Lauren following behind, whispering and giggling as they threw mocking glances Harper's way. Harper took a deep breath, Ava's words stinging like a slap. She wasn't here to measure up to their beauty standards. She was here for a purpose. As she tried to gather her thoughts, a janitor named Thomas Reed walked into the room, pushing a cleaning cart. Thomas, a man in his early 60s with salt and pepper hair and a weathered face, wore a faded uniform and moved with a quiet dignity. He started wiping down the counters, his hands steady but slow because of his age. As he bent down to grab a trash bag it accidentally tore, spilling its contents all over the floor. Empty cans, crumpled papers, and some food scraps made a messy pile. Thomas, flustered, knelt down to clean it up, but Ava immediately pinched her nose, her face twisting in disgust. "Oh my gosh, it stinks. What is that smell?" Ava shrieked, her voice full of contempt. She turned to Thomas, pointing at him with a harsh glare. "What is wrong with you? Can't you even clean without making a mess? A dog could do your job better than you. You're totally useless." Chloe jumped in, covering her nose dramatically, her voice sharp and mocking. "Hurry up, you might be used to smelly trash with your minimum wage job, but we're not. This is gross." Lauren laughed, adding, "What a klutz. An old guy like you should have retired ages ago. How do you even have this job?" Thomas kept his head down, his shaky hands trembling even more as their words hit him. But he kept cleaning, the hurt clear in his cloudy eyes. Harper couldn't stand it any longer. "That's enough," she said, stepping forward, her voice firm with conviction. "Who do you think you are, talking to this man like that? He's just trying to do his job, and he's older than all of us put together. Can't you show a little respect?" Ava turned to her, her face a mix of shock and amusement. "Oh, look, the charity case has a backbone," she sneered. "Why don't you mind your own business? This old man spilled trash all over the floor. We have every right to say something." Before Harper could reply, the pageant coordinator, a woman named Ms. Clara, walked in, holding a clipboard. "Ladies, we're ready to announce the winner. Please follow me to the stage," she said, her tone brisk. Ava and her friends instantly straightened up, smoothing their dresses and flashing fake smiles as they followed Ms. Clara out, but not before throwing one last judgmental look at the mess on the floor. Harper hesitated, glancing at Thomas, who was still kneeling, trying to pick up the trash with his shaky hands. "Shouldn't you be going with them?" Thomas asked, his voice soft but kind, his eyes full of gratitude. "Yeah, I should," Harper replied. "But someone needs to help. You first, I'll head out after." She knelt down, grabbed a rag, and helped him scoop the trash into a new bag, her movements quick and careful. Thomas looked at her, surprised. "Thank you," he said quietly, his voice thick with emotion. "Not many people would be this kind, especially to an old man like me." Harper gave him a warm smile. "Of course, sir," she said, finishing up before rushing out to the stage. The stage at Charleston Community Theatre was simple, but beautifully set up, bathed in warm, golden lights that gave the space a cozy, inviting glow. A modest wooden backdrop was decorated with an elegant banner that read, "Miss Charleston 2025, its classic gold lettering standing out against a deep navy background. On either side of the stage, small arrangements of white roses and greenery added a touch of class, their soft scent filling the air with a gentle freshness. Though the setup was understated, it felt dignified and warm, striking the perfect balance between simplicity and themament's importance. The audience, a small but engaged group of about 50 people sitting on folding chairs, watched with quiet excitement. Unlike typical pageants with thousands of spectators and over-the-top productions, this event felt intimate, almost sacred, reflecting its special mission to celebrate a different kind of beauty. The contestants lined up, their sequined gowns sparkling under the warm lights. Ava stood in the center, her confident smile beaming as she waved to the crowd, her sapphire gown catching the light. At the end of the line, Harper stood out in her simple floral dress, her face lightly made up, her natural hair falling softly around her shoulders, but she stood tall, her heart racing with nerves and hope. The host, a charismatic man named Daniel Reed, stepped forward, microphone in hand. "It's time to find out who will be crowned Miss Charleston 2025, he announced, his voice warm and welcoming. The small crowd clapped excitedly. Ava leaned over to Harper, whispering with a smirk, "Enjoy watching me win $1 million. And the winner of the 2025 Miss Charleston pageant is..." Daniel paused for dramatic effect, the tension in the room building even with the small crowd. "Harper Evans." The audience burst into applause as Harper's name rang out, the warm lights highlighting her stunned expression. Her hand flew to her mouth, her eyes wide with disbelief as she stepped forward to accept the crown. Ava's jaw dropped, her confident mask shattering. "There's no way she won," she hissed to Chloe. "This has to be a mistake." Daniel smiled, addressing the crowd. "There's no mistake here. But I can see some of you might be confused. You see, this isn't your typical beauty contest. A small projector screen lowered from the ceiling, and a video started playing showing backstage footage. The first clip showed Thomas spilling the trash bag, followed by Ava's harsh reaction. "Can't you even clean without making a mess? A dog could do your job better than you. You're totally useless." Chloe and Lauren appeared too, pinching their noses and mocking him. "This is gross. An old guy like you should have retired ages ago." The audience gasped, whispers spreading through the small group. The next clip showed Ava making fun of Harper's dream. "Nobody cares about some disabled people," followed by her bragging about her Maldives vacation plans. The final clip showed Harper kneeling to help Thomas clean up the trash, her kindness standing in sharp contrast to the other contestants' cruelty. Daniel stepped forward again, his expression serious. "On one hand, we have a contestant who wanted to use her winnings to help others, deaf people and the disabled community, giving them a chance to work and feel included. On the other hand, we have Ava, talking about splurging on a Maldives vacation and brushing off those people as unimportant, even going as far as to insult an elderly man just for a small mistake. That's not a good look," he went on. "But there's more. Harper went out of her way to help someone in need, while the rest of you just mocked and insulted him. That's what real beauty looks like." The audience clapped again, many wiping away tears, their applause echoing softly in the intimate space. Daniel turned to Thomas, who had been quietly watching from the side of the stage. "And I think it's time to introduce someone very special. Thomas, would you join me?" Thomas stepped forward, his janitor uniform now replaced by a tailored suit, his weathered face radiating authority. The small crowd went quiet, intrigued. "Actually," Thomas said, his voice steady, "my name is Thomas Reed, and my company, Reed Philanthropy Partners, is the sponsor of the Miss Charleston pageant." The audience gasped, and Ava's face turned pale. Thomas continued, "Thank you, Harper, for showing me kindness and respect, even when I was just an elderly janitor in everyone's eyes. That's how you show your inner beauty, through acts of kindness and compassion. I'm proud to award you this $1 million prize and the title of Miss Charleston 2025. Harper's eyes filled with tears as she accepted the check, her voice shaky with gratitude. "Oh my goodness, thank you so much," she said, turning to Thomas. "I wasn't just being nice to you to win the contest, I promise." Thomas smiled warmly. "I know. That's exactly why you deserve this." Ava, still reeling from the shock, stepped forward, her voice shrill. "Are you serious? This can't be happening. What about me?" Daniel turned to her, his expression stern. "We didn't forget about you, or the little comments you made." The screen played another clip, Ava's voice saying, "I'm dating one of the producers here, and he promised he'd do whatever it takes to make sure I win." The audience murmured in disapproval. Daniel nodded to two security officers waiting in the wings. "Officer, the young lady in the blue dress." Ava's eyes widened in panic. "No, wait, what is this? I didn't do anything." Daniel replied, "Actually, trying to cheat in a $1 million contest is fraud, a felony, in fact. And don't worry, we didn't forget your boyfriend. He's already waiting for you at the police station." As Ava was escorted off the stage, her protests echoing through the small theater, Daniel turned back to Harper, who was still holding the oversized check, her face a mix of disbelief and joy. "So now that you've won, what are you going to name your coffee shop?" he asked. Harper smiled, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions. "Silent Brew," she said. "I want to create a place where deaf people can work, learn, and belong, helping the disabled community find their own value." The audience burst into applause, their cheers warm and heartfelt in the cozy setting, many standing to honor the young woman who had shown them what true beauty really meant. In the months that followed, Harper's win became a quiet sensation, not just in Charleston, but across communities that valued heart over appearances. News outlets picked up the story, praising the pageant's unique take on beauty and shining a light on Harper's plans for Silent Brew. With the prize money, she rented a small space in downtown Charleston, turning it into a cozy coffee shop with pastel walls and sign language signage. She hired deaf individuals to work as baristas and servers and hosted workshops to teach customers sign language, building a bridge between the hearing and deaf communities. The shop quickly became a local favorite, not just for its great coffee, but for the inclusive, warm vibe it created. Harper was often there in her simple floral dress, her hair falling naturally, smiling as she signed with special staffs in the language she'd learned. Meanwhile, Ava faced the consequences of her actions. After her arrest, she and her producer boyfriend were charged with fraud, their scheme falling apart under public scrutiny. The scandal was a harsh reminder of the cost of dishonesty, and Ava's dreams of a Maldives vacation were replaced by court dates and community service. But the story didn't end there. Inspired by Harper's example, Chloe and Lauren reached out to her, apologizing for how they acted and asking how they could help with Silent Brew. Harper welcomed them with open arms, and the three started working together, turning their past rivalry into a partnership for good. Chloe, who was great at organizing events, helped plan fundraisers for the shop, while Lauren, who knew some sign language, helped with communication between staff and customers. One warm afternoon, as Harper stood behind the counter teaching a new employee how to make a latte, Thomas Reed stopped by for a visit. He'd become a mentor to her, offering guidance as she tackled the challenges of running a social impact coffee shop. "How's it going?" he asked, his kind eyes crinkling with a smile. Harper looked up, her face glowing with purpose. "Better than I ever dreamed," she said. "We just got a grant to open a second location in Savannah, and my staff were invited to a startup conference for disabled entrepreneurs." Thomas nodded, impressed. "You're doing amazing work, Harper. I knew you were the right person for that prize." Harper smiled, setting down the coffee pitcher. "I couldn't have done it without you, Mr. Reed. You gave me a chance to show what I can do, and you showed everyone that beauty isn't about what's on the outside." Thomas chuckled, shaking his head. "You did that all on your own, Harper. I just gave you the stage." As they talked, a regular customer named Mia walked in, waving to Harper in sign language. Mia, a deaf woman who worked at the shop, brought a small sign that read, "Thank you, Harper, for giving me a chance." Harper's eyes welled up as she signed back, "Thank you for being part of Silent Brew." Her heart was full. The Miss Charleston pageant of 2025 became a turning point, not just for Harper, but for the whole community. It started conversations about what beauty really means, inspiring people to look beyond appearances and value kindness, compassion, and purpose. Harper's story spread far and wide, a reminder that true beauty shines from within, and that even the smallest acts of kindness can change the world. And for Harper, she never forgot why she entered the pageant in the first place, not for a crown, but for a cause. With Silent Brew, she was building a legacy that would outshine any tiara, one smile at a time. We all have our own ideas of beauty, don't we? But as the Miss Charleston pageant showed us, true beauty isn't about what you wear or how you look. It's about how you treat others and the difference you make. If this story touched your heart, hit that subscribe button and join our community. So, story lovers, share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever been judged for your appearance or seen someone's true beauty shine through their actions? Your story might inspire someone else. And always remember, the most beautiful thing you can wear is kindness. See you in our next story, where another powerful lesson is waiting.